When three little frogs fell into a deep, dry well, the darkness scared them, but their courage lit the way. This isn't just a tale of escape, but one of friendship, bravery, and belief. It shows that, with determination, even the impossible becomes possible. A dry well, three trapped frogs, and a dream, not just to escape, but to rise. This is not a story of those who give up, but of those who carve their own path. Once upon a time, near a small village, there was an old, deep well. It had been dry for many years, and its walls were slippery and steep. Climbing out was almost impossible. Grass and weeds had grown around it, and the villagers had long forgotten it existed. There were three frogs, Chotu, Motu, and Teju. Chotu was the smallest, but he had the biggest dreams. He always imagined traveling the world. Motu was a bit lazy, but incredibly strong. Teju was the smartest, always coming up with clever ideas. One day, the three friends were hopping through the forest when they reached the edge of the forgotten well. In their excitement, they got too close. Chotu leaned in to peek inside, and suddenly, he slipped. "Ah!" he screamed as he fell into the well. Motu and Teju jumped in after him, trying to save him, but they too tumbled into the deep darkness. At the bottom, it was cold and damp. The walls were wet and slippery, and when they looked up, the mouth of the well looked like a tiny moon far above. Chotu said nervously, "What do we do now? We're stuck." Motu held his head in frustration. "I told you to be careful. Who's going to save us now?" First attempt, failure. Motu took a deep breath and tried to climb up the wall using his strength. He managed to get a little higher, but one wrong step and he slipped right back down. The three frogs were exhausted. Night had fallen, and the cold inside the well began to creep in. Second attempt, courage and trust. They came up with a new plan. This time, they noticed some dry twigs and leaves that had fallen into the well with the wind. Teju said, "We can use these twigs. Motu, use your strength to stick them into the wall to make a sort of ladder." Motu carefully pressed the twigs into the wall, forming a makeshift staircase. Chotu, being nimble, began to climb using the twigs. Teju shouted directions from below. "Go right, Chotu. There's a solid stone there." Motu stayed at the bottom, supporting them both. This time, Chotu reached the top. He peeked out and took a deep breath of fresh air. "I did it," he shouted. But the story wasn't over yet. He still had to help his friends. The triumph of friendship. Chotu spotted a strong vine nearby. He pulled it over and dropped it into the well. "Teju, Motu, grab the vine," he called out. Teju grabbed on first and carefully climbed up. Then Motu, the heaviest, put all his strength into the climb and finally made it out. As the three frogs emerged from the well, the sun had started to rise. The morning light lit up the forest. They hugged each other tightly. Chotu said, "We did it because we didn't give up." Motu laughed, "And because we believed in each other." Teju smiled.